But these are the myths. We're going to go through them one at a time. Stock selection is the first one. And stock selection is defined as choosing a stock that we believe will do well in the future. So far, so good. We want to buy stocks that we believe will do well in the future. The myth, though, is that an investment advisor, and I would include investors, and I would include money managers and mutual fund managers, that they can predictably add value to your mutual fund by exercising superior skill in stock selection. That one mutual fund manager or investment advisor can beat another one. Okay, and this is a myth that's been propagated. Let's start with some factual information. This one's not in your book, but it's interesting. This, since 1923, when the first mutual fund was born here, tracks the number of mutual funds total and all the number of new mutual funds in a given year, and then eventually some of the dead mutual funds that start to show up, the ones that are killed. Okay? Now, in that entire period of time, all the way through 2011, 2012 information's coming in, you can see there's a growing trend that's not all that exciting. The number of new mutual funds in 2011 were 2,261 new mutual funds in 1 year introduced, and 1,568 of them were killed. It's no joke that 2009, right after the 2008 year, 2,600 of them were killed in 1 year. And then a bunch more in their wake coming in new, and a number more killed every time. So every year new funds are born, every year funds are killed, and the total numbers, if you add them all up, since 2011, 27,734 mutual funds were there for your choosing. The total number born since 1923 was 49,300, and the total number killed were 20,915. Now, an interesting fact about the killed mutual funds, or the dead mutual funds, is that those returns are no longer found in the prospectus. Okay? So when you hear something like X and Y percentage of our funds beat their averages, their Lipper averages, or beat the market, it's the mutual funds that exist today that they're talking about. You can get this information, you just have to pay a lot of money for it. We went to the Center for Research and Securities Pricing, CRISP, CRP, we'll talk about that a little bit as well, and we got the information on all of the funds, and specifically we found the 200 worst mutual funds, and their average return from inception to being killed was negative 77%. And this information is not in the information that you're using to purchase mutual funds right now, because they don't have to report on funds that they don't have open for sale. So if they don't have a fund for sale, they leave it out and they kill mutual funds for various reasons. This is certainly one of those reasons. So stock picking is skewed, and we can get the information, and we have, and we put it back in. So the benefits of stock picking. The average U.S. equity mutual fund, and this is in your book, might be page 4 probably. If you look at the average U.S. mutual fund on the bottom number here, the return of the average U.S. mutual fund is tracked here. And this is U.S. equity fund. So it's a mutual fund consisting of equities only, stocks only, not bonds, and consisting of U.S. companies only. So it's not all 26,000 funds, it's just the ones that are U.S. equity funds. And if you had invested in 1972 $100,000, the average of all U.S. mutual funds would have given you $2.056 million at the end of that period if you had invested in an index of the average of all of those. Now you compare that to the S&P 500 in pink, or the CRISP market, which is the entire market, and the market did far better than the average of all U.S. mutual funds. The wealth lost to active stock picking, active management versus indexes. These are indexes. This is an active conglomerate, the average of all. The wealth lost to active stock picking was $1.6 million over that period of time. You don't see that information. That information is not produced in the prospectuses because the prospectuses don't track dead mutual funds. But this is real. We took the average of all mutual funds and we put those in the matrix as well. And the average of all mutual funds, now this would include international funds, it would include bond funds. So it would include the emerging markets, the way out there, more aggressive stuff. It would include the very conservative stuff. All the bond funds as well. So all 26,000 some mutual funds, 27,000 that are available, are in this average all the way through 2011. and $100,000 would have grown to $1.2 million, you'd have expected that to at least come in above our average return, or our conservative return. Our conservative fund took $100,000 during that same period of time, and a mixed based on our conservative fund would have achieved a $3.1 almost million return. And this one has 25% stocks in it. This one's probably at least 50-50 stocks and bonds, and it does far less well when you put all of the data back in. And then the most aggressive fund, although very volatile, probably not something that you want to retire with. This would be much better for a retirement portfolio. But someone who's younger and has years left, you can handle that. And the returns that are there from the market, from the pure market, are far better than the average of the returns from all mutual funds, including the active traded funds. Does that make sense? So the wealth lost to active stock picking versus just the pure market, where the market does the work, the S&P 500 or the CRSP 9 through 10, or an index, a set of index funds that's mixed together for different weights of being aggressive versus conservative. Active funds underperform significantly the market. So this brought me